Okay. You know, one screen says we're live and the other screen says it's still getting ready to go live.
I
So
know.
I know.
Oh, I see. We're on Facebook now. I see we're live.
Okay, we're on Facebook. So good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's Website Wednesday, and I am here with Teresa, my web designer, with tips on how you can make your website. How did we word it?
Design with
For your ideal client.
Yeah, yeah. And I know it's a little bit of a different concept a lot of people don't think about. They think about what's the new tech that is going to make my website stand out, or that kind of approach. But really you want to design it for the customers who are going to be reading it, because if your customer lands on it and they're not comfortable with new tech, they're not going to stay on your website. They're not going to work with you. They're not going to know what you do, because they're going to hop off of a website that doesn't feel good to them. So I really want people to think about who is my ideal customer and make sure that their website, whether they do it themselves or they're designing with a designer, that they're designing for that customer and not for what they like best.
And it's interesting because, excuse me, one of my clients yesterday who I was speaking to, she really wants to go for the high-end clients. And she's a really good designer. But when we looked at her website, we realized that there was a lot of her past jobs on there that were just kind of like moderate level design projects. And I thought of you because, you know, less is more. Like, you don't have to put up every single one of your images of every job you've ever done. Put up the ones, if you're going for that high end, right? Put up the ones that are fabulous and were your high end projects.
Exactly. Like when you're getting started off, you're putting up everything because you want to show that you have experience. But once you start really fine tuning your ideal client and you have this background to back it up, only put out there what you want people to see about you. You don't have to put everything. There's websites that I've designed never have landed on my web page, because while it was a fun project and I enjoyed it, it was a fluke job. It wasn't my ideal customer. And I don't want people to say, hey, give me more of this, because that's not what I'm looking for.
Yes, and that's what we ended up deciding, and she might be calling you because I encouraged her to call you because, yeah, I mean, she's done some very high-end, funky, fabulous projects, and then she's done some very much, you know, average jobs, which everyone takes at times, and all these average jobs, and I literally could tell as I was going through it, that client held you back from doing what you wanted to do. That client didn't have enough money. That client had like their grandmother's, you know, sofa and they didn't want to get rid of it. Like you could tell, and she did a great design around whatever she could, but it's not representative of the clientele she wants to go for and focus on. And she had some fabulous ones. So like less is more.
Less is more. Absolutely. And so knowing who your ideal customer is, who are you going for? Who do you want to bring into your circle? That is who you want to design the website for. Nobody else.
And you had some other great examples. So like if your ideal client is, you know, busy parents with young children.
Right, exactly. And so these are very generalized ones, but think about that. Like, don't think about just how much money they're willing to spend, but what is their lifestyle like? If I am a busy mom on the go and I have a website, I'm looking for an interior designer and I go to a website that looks terrible on my phone, I'm not going to look at you, because I'm probably going to be on my phone looking at things while I'm at a soccer game or waiting on my kids to come out of their ballet practice. And so having something that looks great on the phone is ideal. I also, as a busy mom, wouldn't want an autoplay video or anything loud, because if I'm sitting in the doctor's office or something and this big video blares out and is flashing ads at me and stuff, it's embarrassing. And so you want to have things, think about where are they going to be looking at my website? How are they going to be experiencing my website? And are they going to have a good experience? And so
I love the how are they going to be experiencing my website? Is it someone who most likely is behind their computer or most likely on their phone is one example. That's really powerful. So many, I don't know the statistic, but do we know how many people actually do searching through their phone?
It really depends. It honestly depends on the comfort level of the ideal customers. It depends on the age group. You have a whole, like my mom, she's just learning how to get on her phone and it overwhelms her. She's going to get on a computer. My mom is 76. And so she's not going to be looking too much on her phone. And so the computer is where it's at. But also talking about the older generation, my mom wants to read. She's a generation who read. She doesn't want a video that automatically starts playing at her. She doesn't want sound to pop up. She doesn't want a bunch of animation going on the website because it almost gives her anxiety because it's not in her comfort zone. She would rather have 10 paragraphs to read than to have a video start playing and talking at her right away because she won't even know where the video is coming from.
Interesting, and makes sense. And I know one of my pet peeves, and I'll be 55 next month, is when I go to a website and I just can't find the menu.
Oh, that's a big one. The
Like, I
whole
can't find the
little,
menu. And then all of a sudden I see these little dots or a little line in the top right. I'm like, is this the menu? And then I click on it. I'm like, ugh, like I just go right off of it because it annoys me. I want to see the menu.
want to see the menu. And so for you, you're most likely probably on your computer, not on your phone near as much.
Yes.
Because on the phone, it's going to resize to those little menus, but it's a little bit more intuitive on a phone. But on the computer, if you have to search for the menu, how long are you going to stay on the website?
Not long.
You're going to bounce off super quick. People need to be able to find what they're looking for in 5 seconds or less, or they're going to bounce off.
Yeah, this is really key. And I love the way you said, like, you have to look at everything as your client's experience, not like, well, I want to make sure I say this, and I want to make sure I say that, and I want to make sure it talks about this about me or whatever. You really have to go, and the best way to do that is to get somebody who's in your ideal client profile and say, look at my website, give me a critique.
Give me a critique. That is incredible. And get somebody that is going to be 100% honest and have them look at that and say, I don't get this. I don't understand this.
Right.
And
Or this is
listen to
bothering my eye, or something. And if you can get 3 people, then you can take the common comments that they made and know those are for sure things.
Mhm.
that you-
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so one other thing I would add, because you can't always find 3 people or even one person who's going to be honest. I mean, I'm a web designer, and when I was learning how to do web design, my friends and family told me I was freaking brilliant. Well, there were some early designs that were really bad. They were not brilliant, and I love them and their support for me, but it wasn't good constructive feedback. And so another thing that I have encouraged a lot of my clients is, tell me the story of your ideal customer. Where do they shop? What do they do on a regular basis? Are they married? Are they single? Do they have kids? Are their kids grown? Like, let's dive in and tell me the story of your ideal customer, because the more I know about who they are, the more I know what I can design that is going to meet them where they're at versus just designing something that's pretty.
Right. And that's one of the things you're really good at, is putting yourself in the shoes of their ideal client, even a younger generation client. I want to go for the millennials, which, you know, a lot of people are not thrilled with, because there are a lot of do-it-yourselfers in that crowd. But if you're looking for that high-end upcoming young millennial executive, what are they going, like, how fast do they want to get their answers, and how quickly do they want to be able to get in touch with you to get it done right at the moment because they're really busy? Like, things like that are going to dictate what you have on your banner.
Right, right. And even doing, like you said, talking with the millennials, give them tips on how to do it themselves. One thing that millennials are really great at is, yeah, they want to try and do it themselves until they realize that I really don't want to do that. And they're much quicker to hire somebody when they feel they have a trusted resource. But the fact that you were willing to share a little bit with them, so if they're your target market, share some how-tos with them to show that you're not keeping secrets. You are going to be transparent and open with them. And when they realize it's more than it looks, because let's face it, I mean, like, I could say I'm an interior designer, but no, like, picking out paint colors is a stressor as it is trying to find the right color. I don't have it. And so knowing that I could hire somebody to do that, it makes it good. And so that's another way to tap in and reach your target market, designing that website. Like, give them some of your
I love
tips
this.
and
I
tricks.
love this. And if you're giving them tips just straight out on your website, that's great. Again, people don't hire you for information. Your ideal client wants you to implement for them in most
Right.
cases. And you can do it as a free opt-in where they have to put in their name and email address. So you'll actually get them on your email so you could further nurture them.
So you can further nurture them, and you can let them know that, yes, you can do these things yourself, but do you have time? A lot of times people are more quick. I feel like the millennials are more quick to hire out things.
Yeah, I think it depends.
Mhm.
It definitely depends on their income level, I think, as well.
Mhm.
But here's the thing, they're up and coming, the millennials, a lot of them. So they may not have a big income now, but who are they going to remember when they do get overwhelmed with a project and want to hire someone? They're going to remember the person whose website they went to, who gave all these tips.
Right. That's who
It
they're
was
going to
really
remember.
good, and they're really generous with their time, and that's the person I want to hire, right? I say this all the time: share, share, share. Don't hold that back information. Don't feel like, well, I'm not saying that until they hire me. That whole approach of being shut down like that is not making you an attractive person and an attractive character, as they say in the marketing world.
Yeah.
So interesting. All right. So when you're designing your website or redesigning your website,
Yep.
you want to make sure you do it with considering your ideal client,
Mhm.
how they will be viewing your website, what generation they're in, what they need to hear, what they need to see. And yeah, this is a perfect example. You're sharing exactly what it takes. Either the people out there who are listening are going to want to do it themselves, and that's okay. You're okay with that.
Yeah, please go for it.
Right. But the people who can't, don't want to, don't have time will look to hire someone like you to do it for them. So
Absolutely.
that's why you're sharing. And I hope it's out. I hope people are, watching on live or on replay. And if you have any questions, tag Teresa and
Yeah.
no H.
No H. Yeah, no H.
No H. And your name is right here on the screen. And ask the questions, because that's why she's in this group, to be able to help you guys. So anything that we missed, Teresa?
No, like you said, I think you covered it. If you have any questions, like what would you do for this client market or whatever the case is, let me know. If you're more interested in really diving deep into who your ideal customer is. Part of your story we talked about last week, the planner that I have dives into telling the story of your ideal customer as well, and
Mhm.
really get you thinking about that. So just let me know if you guys have questions, because I want your customers to connect with you. I really do. I want you to be successful. And it's okay if you're doing it yourself or if you're working with another designer. There's a lot of incredibly brilliant web designers out there who don't have the customer mindset, that don't know to do these things. They're really amazing at the tech, but
Yeah.
they don't know and what they don't know. And so use these tips to help your designer, if you have one, get to where your customer is.
Love
Absolutely.
it. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Yeah, thank you.
I love Website Wednesdays, and yesterday was Technology Tuesday. So we're just trying to give you guys, some tools that are important in running your entire business. And I hope you guys are getting to watch, and I'll see you next week, right? Next week.
Yeah.
And if you guys have, and we said this yesterday for Technology Tuesday, if there are specific subjects or questions, these are things that we can address in these Tuesday and Wednesday broadcasts. So make sure you ask them below and tag us so that we find them, and it helps us come up with topics that you guys want to know about. Okay?
Absolutely.
All
Yes.
right. Thanks, everyone. I will see you next week, Teresa. Thank you.
See you next week. Bye.
Okay. Bye.